video. This is the second part of my parents' basement makeover. If you're new here, my name is Noelle. I make videos about home decor, home makeovers, fashion, and lifestyle vlogs. But we are knee deep in the basement makeover series. And guys, this was a huge overhaul. If you didn't see the first part, I'll link it up here. We did my dad's office, and my dad's office is really kind of what drove the entire project. We wanted to redo his space, but that turned into redoing the entire basement. Our basement is huge. It's about 1,300 to 1,400 square feet, so it's a really big space to tackle. Before we jump into the makeover, if you are not subscribed, what are you doing? Please hit that subscribe button and like for the YouTube algorithm. It really helps my channel out. Now let's get into the makeover. So the first thing we had to do in this project was come up with this space is about 1,300 to 1,400 square feet of just open layout. There are no walls, there are really no specified areas for anything. One part of the basement we have the mechanics, and in another part of the basement we have the water heaters, but outside of that, those were really the only things that we had to take account for. Choosing where we were gonna put my dad's office is really what drove the rest of the floor plan. Once we put his office where it currently is, that gave us a lot of room to just create zones throughout the basement. We did toy around with a couple of different layouts, but honestly, we felt that this one was the best because it prioritized putting storage in more kind of secluded corners of the basement and really starting to use the open space. And when I mean by open, you walk down our stairs and the space that you see first as living space. So I want to put a disclaimer for us. This was filmed over a pretty long period of time. This project as a whole, from start to finish, and when I say start to finish, I mean from the time we started talking about it, from the time we started sourcing, from the time that we went back and forth about floor plans, to painting, to actually getting the furniture and bringing it into the space, and then all the other things that we did in my dad's office that weren't even a part of, you know, the main basement, took probably a total of 6 weeks. So I say all that to say, I have pieced this footage together to the best of my ability. There are a lot of things though that we did off camera that I didn't necessarily think would add value to this video, which was the painting. This is a huge basement. 1,400 square feet is the size of some people's homes, and we painted the entire floor and all the walls. In retrospect, we definitely should have painted the ceiling, but we didn't. Nonetheless, this was a lot of painting for 3 people to do, my mom, my dad, and myself, and we did it over 3 weekends. So no, I did not include any of the painting because it literally would have just been time-lapse of time-lapse of time-lapse of us painting. But this video is gonna start off at the end of painting. You'll see it before, but we're starting off at the after we had done about 3 weekends, probably a solid 6 or 7 days in total of nothing but painting. All right, guys, I am walking into the basement. I'm like touching the floor. I think we're okay. So wow, this is the first time that we finished painting yesterday. So to walk down here and see everything done, it makes a huge difference. I'm gonna put a side-by-side from before and after, but it makes a huge difference. It doesn't necessarily make the room lighter. Like, we definitely still need to install the additional lights going all the way down. So where you see these 3 lights, we're going to install hookups all the way down here, just, you know, little boxes so that we can have lights on this side. But it definitely makes a huge difference. Like, I don't know, like we knew that it was still going to stay an unfinished basement, so we obviously were not expecting it to look like, you know, finished, like, but just all uniform, light, bright, with the really nice, I mean, you guys tell me in the comments, me and my mom have been going back and forth, this looks super like a light sage to me, like a light green. She sees gray, I see green. But either way, just having the walls white, it makes a world of difference. It just makes it feel fresher, newer, cleaner. It's just a better like foundational base to be able to decorate off of. Now, the next thing after we painted was figuring out how we were gonna create zones in this basement. Now, we definitely went back and forth about whether or not, you know, we could have used a different type of system than we used. We were not going to frame out the basement. That's not something that my parents were ready to do, or have ever really actually said that they were going to do. We don't need our basement for extra bedroom. We don't need it for really anything other than more lounging and storage space. So it just didn't make sense to spend the money on framing. However, we did want to create different zones, different sections for us to be able to do different things. And I felt like the best way to do this and the cheapest way to do this was just via curtain. We went back and forth about whether or not we could have done the drop down piping options that you see. It looks like plumbing pipings, which is very industrial and not really in line with my parents' style. So we actually settled on this IKEA track system. I will obviously throw it across the screen what we got. This actually ended up being the most cost efficient option, and it really did get the job done. Obviously the curtains are a little sheer, so if you're looking for creating, I think, like bedrooms or spaces where, you know, you can't really see or hear, then this is not an option for you. But if you're fine with your space still having an open concept feeling and zones just being visually blocked off by some type of, you know, barrier, I think that these curtains and this tracking system did a really good job.
Here does two things. One, it slips in, and it's this hole right here that locks into the bracket up top. But also, when you slide it out, it's this piece that connects the connecting, so we can run 3 or 4 of these together. So that's what this piece does.
So that was us just screwing in the brackets. Then there's a top connector piece that goes through this thread, and then we'll repeat that step a bunch of times. The install process was a little grueling. It definitely took us a couple hours. Before we bought this, we had to be really precise with our measurements to understand how much tracking we actually needed, how many curtains we needed, the little additional, you'll see in the clips next, but how you put this tracking up was pretty precise in that me, my mom, and my sister, while my dad was drilling the tracking across the ceiling, we were putting together the 2 little pieces that allow you to actually slide in the parts that's going to hold your drape. So yeah, not like a quick little 30-minute thing. It definitely took us a couple of hours in total, but once you get the hang of it, you kind of just get in a groove. You go one by one, and before you know it, you're done. Now to the most fun part, which is decorating, styling, actually, you know, making the space look nice. And I'm gonna tell you guys, we were really blessed in the fact that all this stuff was free. And I get it, that is not typical for most situations. I am fortunate enough to work for a company where a lot of times we have to let go of things. We are kind of always restyling, re-onboarding different hotels, and when something doesn't fit our needs, we will typically give it away or allow people to take that furniture. So we got all this stuff for free. Now, what my tip is to you as the viewer, if you can't get all this stuff for free, there is a way for you to get a lot of stuff at the low, for the cheap. And that is secondhand, and technically that's what all this furniture is. This is secondhand furniture. This was furniture that was used in previous hotels, obviously has wear and tear. A lot of it isn't a huge amount of wear and tear, but it is secondhand, and you are able to do the same for your space. You can look on Facebook Marketplace, Let Go, Craigslist, all these other sites that honestly you can find really good gems at a really low price. For a space that is like secondary for us and might be secondary for you in your home, if you don't want to go and spend an arm and a leg on new furniture and new accessories and all this other stuff, you don't have to. Look into the secondhand market, and I promise you, you will be surprised by what you find. hope you enjoyed this makeover. When you look at the before and after, I mean, even though we didn't do that much, we did a lot. And the after is crazy. Even when I go home now and I walk downstairs, I'm just like, I literally couldn't imagine it being what it was before. I'm so thankful that you watched this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. Obviously, if you did, you know what to do. Hit the like button and comment below what was your favorite part. Ask me any questions. Like I said, I definitely understand that there are some pieces missing here and there. This was filmed over 6 weeks. This was also one of my first big projects that I filmed. So there's a lot of lesson learned in regards to the filming and creating the video portion of this. Make sure you're tuned in for the last video in this series. It is gonna be a tour of the basement, what it looks like in real time right now. This was finished filming back in September of 2020. It's now February of 2021. My parents have made a couple of changes and I want to show those to you. I'm also going to go through the budget, how much it actually cost us, what mistakes we made, and give you 5 tips on how you can do the same thing we did on maybe an even smaller budget so that your unfinished basement can look like ours. All right guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.